What immediately comes to mind for me is something that one of my mentors told me, which is you know that you're starting to gain headway and become successful in your business when you get haters.
If you're not getting haters, you're not doing it right. Or something like that.
You're taking a really clear stand that is repelling some people. And that's a good sign that you are speaking to your core beliefs.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Video Entrepreneur Podcast by Youre. This is Rob Balasabas, your host. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. I know I've been having a great time meeting our awesome guests and just learning alongside you about all the different ways that these video creators are building revenue streams with their content. And this episode is no different. I'm joined by Barry Kostabi to talk about the 5 secrets of successful fitness entrepreneurs. Now, if you don't identify as a fitness entrepreneur, spoiler alert, the principles that Barry shared in this episode actually goes beyond fitness entrepreneurs and can apply to almost all video entrepreneurs as well. I think there's always learnings that you can take from one aspect of life that you can then apply to other personal experiences in your own business. And so, real quick, before I introduce you to Barry and his wife Shay are co-founders of Fitness Career Mastery. They've been international instructors, coaches, and consultants for over a decade now. And if they've realized one thing in the fitness industry, it's that once you get certified or once you launch your business, there's no roadmap to guide you toward longevity and success. And this is why their focus is on helping fitness creators and entrepreneurs build a brand that attracts the ideal client, as well as creating experiences that make them want to stay forever. I'm really excited for you all to meet Barry, but before you do, I'd just like to invite you to subscribe to this podcast on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. And if you're curious about using Youre to monetize your videos, head over to youre.link/podcast. And without further ado, let's talk to Barry. Barry, welcome to the podcast. Excited to have you here and really pick your brain because you have been working with a lot of fitness entrepreneurs and getting them online and building revenue streams online. And so this is going to be a really awesome conversation. And I think a lot of the things that you are going to share also applies to not just fitness entrepreneurs, but also just entrepreneurs in general that want to build online revenue streams. So before we dive in, for our audience, Barry, would love for you to just say hello, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll get into a really good conversation here.
Absolutely. Rob, thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to speak to everyone. And you're absolutely right. The 5 points that I'm going to deliver today apply to any sort of entrepreneur. We just happen to focus on the fitness niche because that's where we come from. And it's a pretty cool story. Both my wife, Shay, and myself run Fitness Career Mastery together. And we first met each other when I was living in Dubai. I had an opportunity to help a really big brand from New York expand into the United Arab Emirates. And she was working for the company in New York. And we met when she came out to train me to teach a bar class. For those of you that are fitness enthusiasts, the brand was Flywheel, actually, which sadly didn't make it through the pandemic. But as soon as we met, we knew we had a connection. We kept in touch over time. We were actually dating other people at the time. But our travels brought us back to Los Angeles, and we did a lot of projects together there. And then she actually got an opportunity to help a brand expand out of Taiwan into mainland China. And they were looking for someone to help them make that happen, really. So she wasn't in a position to move to Beijing, but she knew that I, as someone who had lived abroad for so long, might be interested. And I was. And I flew over to Beijing, and I was helping to teach there, but also to develop their instructor team and train new instructors. And I realized during my time there that there was so much that I had learned through the maybe 10 years that I had been in the industry up until that point that just was never taught to anyone after they got certified to become a group fitness instructor or a personal trainer on how to create a really incredible experience that people want to come back to, or how to build a business around what it is that they do. The career path for most fitness professionals now is to teach or train until they get to an age where they literally can't do that anymore. And there's so much more to the industry than that. So I started a podcast called Fitness Career Mastery, and this was back in 2017. And it's turned into an incredible resource for fitness professionals. We just reached the 300,000 download milestone, which was pretty cool. And we interview a lot of amazing guests on a range of topics. But what happened next was Shay and I had the opportunity to work on this brand together in Shanghai. The brand expanded there, and we realized at that point that we had feelings for each other, and everything kind of merged then. I had the podcast, which was an amazing lead generator. And at the meantime, she was running a really strong consulting business, developing programs and helping coach studio owners and fitness business owners back in the United States. So we decided to combine forces, and Fitness Career Mastery as it is today was born. And the best way to sum up what we do is we help you get the right people in, and then we help you keep them there. And we do that by giving you the guidance, the roadmap to identify the type of person that you are uniquely meant to serve, and then delivering an amazing experience that makes them want to keep coming back over and over again.
Amazing. So much to unpack there, even just in your introduction. This
there's so many great stories I could tell.
There's so many great stories. I mean, man, like just the you and Shay meeting, and the worlds colliding there. That's very cool. And it's actually really cool just to hear how this industry has kind of taken you in so many different places. I mean, I heard Dubai, Beijing, Taiwan, like so many places. And now you guys are in the US now, correct? Yeah. Based in the US.
We're in the US. We're in Southern California. But right before the pandemic, we were in Singapore and Mexico and Paris. And fitness is growing everywhere around the world, and they need help. And up until that point, we'd been traveling around and providing hands-on help with all these businesses. But through the pandemic, we've shifted a lot of what we do online and offer some online coaching and programs to help fitness creators and entrepreneurs build a brand that is a representation of who they are and serves who they're meant to serve. And also, Shay runs what she calls the Group X Instructor Conservatory, where she teaches really soft skills that you don't learn in your certification that can help you deliver an unforgettable experience. Because I'm sure you've taken fitness classes before, Rob, and some of them fly by and it's amazing. You're like, wow, that was an hour. It felt like 5 minutes. And then some other ones you go into and like 5 minutes in, you're like, oh my God, how much longer is this going to go on for?
When is this done?
Horrifying. Yeah. Can I sneak out? Yeah. Definitely want to avoid that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely want to get into, the 5, secrets of successful fitpreneurs here in just a second, but I'm curious, you mentioned the pandemic. I'm always really curious because, obviously the pandemic has really affected a lot of careers and a lot of, industries. I feel like fitness, it definitely has. There's, folks that have, really, not like they've really suffered through it. But I've also seen a lot of entrepreneurs in this niche do really well. They've pivoted, they've shifted online. They really, saw opportunity in sort of what was happening. And, some studios have closed down. Some of them are opening up now again. But during the pandemic, they sort of discovered this online revenue that maybe they wouldn't have explored if the pandemic hadn't happened. If that, I don't know if that's
Absolutely.
Sort of what you guys have seen out there as well. Yeah.
There's been, well, first of all, it was an extremely tumultuous time. Unfortunately, the governments on a federal level, on a local level, just did not view fitness businesses as essential. And that was really unfortunate because something that people needed both for their physical health and their mental health throughout the pandemic was to move their bodies. And if if the fitness industry was looked at a little bit differently, I think people would have had a much easier time navigating through the most difficult times of the pandemic. But you're absolutely right. Because of that specifically, it put businesses and individuals in a position where they had to pivot online if they wanted to continue running their business. And this came naturally to some and was a real struggle for others. We spent most of 2020 helping a lot of businesses pivot online and create a really high quality online offering. That's where we first got in touch with you guys at Uscreen. Mm-hmm. And we continue to promote Uscreen as our most favorite recommended platform for any of our fitness creators or entrepreneurs, just because of all the amazing things it can do. But yeah, there's been a lot of conversation in the fitness industry now about what happens now and whether we go back to being in person or whether we continue pushing forward with our online offerings or if we offer some sort of hybrid model. And for a lot of businesses, it can be a really cool value add and additional revenue stream to have an online offering. You're able to expand your reach beyond the city that you're in. We've heard really unique solutions that even if their instructors go on vacation, they're able to still teach a class from the beach that they're on and surprise and delight the members by doing something like that. So it's definitely a new industry now coming out of the pandemic, and online is something that is definitely something that's being built more into business models.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny you mentioned that, people being sort of in different places. It reminds me yesterday, one of our friends and actually a user of Uscreen, Finley and Brooke, they run a program and they are in Jamaica. They're based in the US, but I think they're vacationing in Jamaica. And she did a live stream, I believe, or created content on the beach in Jamaica. And it's just like you said, surprise and delight. Cool. It's a different atmosphere. It's like you're taking your audience with you a little bit. And then they came across some other fitness experts out there, and it's just, it's really cool what's happening, I think, with what's happening online and whole live streaming aspect of it. But yeah, no, I love that. Okay, well, I want to jump in. Let's get started because I would love to hear the 5 things that you guys have been sharing with your audience and with your clients. So the 5 things that, fitness entrepreneurs need to know and sort of the secrets to success there. So I'll let you kick off, the first one, and let's just chew on this.
Yeah. Well, a few things to kind of tee us up before we get started. These emerged because of what we've witnessed hands-on as being coaches and consultants, again, internationally for over a decade. The main complaint that we hear from our community of listeners of our podcast is that they struggle with marketing and they struggle with client acquisition. And this is true for people in the fitness industry, but I also find it's true just for any entrepreneur in general. So I just want to emphasize again that even if you're not in the fitness industry, these 5 tips can absolutely apply to your efforts to become a more successful entrepreneur as well.
Yep.
So the number 1 tip, and what's cool about all of these is they kind of build off of each other and lead into each other. So it's going to flow together nicely, is something that we call selling the sand, not the flight. Rob, I want you to picture and everyone listening, the best flight that you've ever been on. Maybe it had really amazing food. It had a wide selection of movies. Maybe it had extra leg room. Maybe you had the opportunity to fly first class sometime and had all of the luxury treatments that you get when you fly first class. I can say one of the best airlines I've ever flown was Emirates, which is the main airline into the United Arab Emirates in Dubai. And I didn't get to fly first class, but their first class, you get your own private suite and your seat fully reclines and you have access to a private bar upstairs. Like that's next level.
That's crazy.
So what I want you to imagine is if we kind of take this to the extreme and imagine that other airlines started to compete on this level. Maybe one airline has a movie theater on board, right? Maybe another one has a masseuse available to massage your feet and legs as they get tired from sitting in a chair for so long. Maybe another one has a chef on board that can create custom meals, right? All of these amazing things that can make the experience extra special on board, right? Now, if all of these things were affordable and you could take all of these flights and experience these things, you probably absolutely would try all of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But after a period of time, they'd all start to feel the same. You'd get a little bored with the features. And yeah, a new airline may come out that has some flashy new thing, maybe like a dance floor or a club inside. They have a live DJ on board or something ridiculous like that. You'd be like, that's cool, but I've kind of seen all of it, right? This is what's happening in the fitness industry. We see fitness businesses and entrepreneurs trying to sell the features of their workout. And this can manifest as saying things like, we have the most comfortable bikes in the world. You can track your data with our app. We have top of the line equipment. We have world-class instructors. We have concert style lighting. All of these features that we believe will draw more people in. And what's happened in the fitness industry is because we're competing on this level, when something new comes out, it's just competing on the level of more hype. And the problem is that none of these things really matter to our ideal client. If we go back to our flight example, I want you to imagine now that a new airline comes out that says, we believe in combating stress, which is why on our airline, we not only provide you with an amazing experience with masseuses and like Reiki healers on board, but we give you a direct flight to all of the most amazing vacation destinations like the Maldives and Bora Bora and Mauritius, right? So you can find a simple way to fill up your cup and get off the hamster wheel and combat stress and all of the health complications that come as a result of that, right? This airline would stand out so much more than all of these other airlines that just compete on the level of hype. The reason why is because they're talking about what they believe and where they're taking you, right? I use this analogy because we don't get on a flight because of what happens on the flight. All that stuff is great, but we get on a flight because of where we're going, because of the experience we want to have, visiting loved ones, going on a vacation, exploring a new place, right? What that does for our identity and sense of self. And what we seem to miss in the fitness industry is that the reason people are coming to a fitness class or a fitness studio, the reason they're seeking you out, it's not because of the workout. Let's face it. I'll be the first to admit it. As a fitness professional, nobody likes to work out. The only reason you like to work out is if you're already fit. And even at that point, you like to work out because of how it makes you feel about yourself. People are coming to fitness because they want to change what's going on inside of them. They want to stop feeling frustrated that they're in so much pain and can't run around with their kids in the backyard. They want to stop feeling self-conscious about their appearance in front of their partner, or they want to be able to attract a partner, right? They want to not experience as much stress and anxiety anymore and want to have a way to release that. We need to make a shift in the fitness industry. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, we need to make a shift away from selling the features of what we do and start selling the transformational identity of where we can take people.
I love that. Yeah, it's a great advice, because I do find that a lot of entrepreneurs and products, will sell on the features. It's a little easier, right? It's easier to just like identify those tangible, hey, here are the features, and that's how you compete. But you're right, like, the customers themselves, they want the benefits, they want the transformation, and that's what they're paying for. For example, I guess if we get really granular on it, like a lot of programs will say, hey, this one of the features is that this is a 2-hour or 3-hour program, or like 6-week program, 12-week program. And so
Right.
the longer the program, the more value it has. But really, it doesn't matter. It could be
Right.
a 5-minute program. It's like, I guess when you think about, like, you pay a doctor, you don't pay a doctor to operate for as long as possible, and you pay him more if it takes longer, right?
You just want the job done.
It's like, you just want the job done. If that takes 2 minutes, I'll probably pay more than like, being under the knife for like 2 hours, right?
Right.
So I think, that's a great advice. Great advice, Barry. So sell on the benefits, which is more emotional, right? It's a little harder to find the benefits sometimes and think it through as like a business. Like it's more emotional than tangible, I guess, that you can list.
You're absolutely right. What people buy is the emotional connection that they feel to you, and how you're able to transform them on an emotional level. Mm-hmm. Again, going back to that example, there's a huge difference between saying something like, we're the premier indoor cycling studio in town. We offer 45-minute classes that'll burn 1,000 calories with amazing concert style lighting and a live DJ, versus saying, we understand how challenging times have been through the pandemic. And for you as a parent of young children, that has been compounded, right? You're all stuck together at home, and it just feels like you're on this hamster wheel day in and day out, and you don't feel like yourself anymore. That's exactly why we've created an environment where you can come and tap into yourself and your body again, so you can walk out the door feeling more like yourself and show up as a better parent, as a better partner, and experience a higher quality of life together as a family. There's no comparison between those two statements, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, take my money at that point, right? Like you got in my head at that point. Like,
That's
exactly what I'm thinking. You're thinking what I'm thinking, and maybe something I don't even want to almost admit to myself. And I think probably in the fitness space, you do need to really dig deep into the psychology more than most, niches out there, right? Like if you're selling an email marketing platform, it's not as emotional, right? But like fitness, it's so personal. It's your body, it's your wellness, it's your time with your family, all those things, reputation, appearance, like, man, all the things that you're thinking about. So
there's so much emotion tied up in all of that you just listed off. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Awesome. Okay. So there you go. That's great. Point tip number 1. Let's get into number 2. Number 2, Barry.
Point number 2 is, you can't help everyone, so don't even try. And this kind of builds off of the last one. With that example I just gave of the cycling studio that speaks to parents, or the airline that was specifically designed to combat stress. It's an example of what we need to do in the fitness industry and in any industry, really. There's this fallacy, especially in the fitness industry, and it comes from a really good place of just wanting to help as many people as possible, that if you cast as wide a net as you can and try to help as many people as you possibly can, you're going to pull in more clients, you're going to change more lives, and you're going to help more people. But the simple truth is that when you try to appeal to everyone, you wind up appealing to no one. And the reason why is because when we try to speak to everyone, Like in the fitness industry, that would include a man in his 60s or 70s who's struggling with such acute pain that he can't get down to the floor and play with his grandkids and back up again unassisted, or as well as a young person in their 20s that just wants to look good naked, right? We have to water down our messaging and become so generic and compromise on our beliefs and our values so much that we are really not saying anything at that point.
Right.
So we've all heard about the benefits of niching down before, and this can be scary because it feels like you're speaking to fewer people and you're going to attract fewer clients. But what happens when you do this is you're able to put out such a clear message and create a story around what it is that you do and how you can help this specific type of person achieve the specific transformational identity that they're seeking. You're going to wind up changing more lives and reaching more people and getting more clients anyway. Mm-hmm. In the fitness industry, it comes down to identifying what it is that you are uniquely strong at. We call them your superpowers. It involves getting really clear on your why, on your origin story, your beliefs and your core values. There's a lens through which you look at the fitness industry and through which you look at training. And often this comes as a result of the experiences that you've had that have led you to become a trainer or led you to opening a studio. For example, one of our clients went through a really terrible breakup, and she was really struggling with that trauma. She was depressed. She wasn't eating. She felt like she didn't want to be here anymore. And she was trying everything. She went to talk therapy. Other friends just like told her to get over it. Like everything across the spectrum, nothing was really working for her. And it wasn't until she went to a dance class that she realized that she could kind of process and move through her emotions and release them through moving her body. It had nothing to do with the physical transformation, but it had everything to do with just moving her body and letting the emotions process and move through, because emotions live in our body. It's a chemical reaction, right?
Yeah.
So that caused her to eventually open her own business that did the exact same thing, specifically targeting people who were struggling from some sort of trauma or depression and giving them the vehicle of dance to help them, as she put it, come home to who they are.
Love
and
it.
That, if you come to her website and you see her copy and you see that, it's going to either resonate with you or repel you. And that's a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's so much better than coming to a website that says Premier Indoor Cycling, which is a website that I've seen recently. It's impossible for you to distinguish yourself from Peloton and literally thousands of other indoor cycling options out there, right? Mm-hmm. So the expectation to be able to get clients, and this kind of goes back to selling the flight rather than the sand, you just find yourself in this position where you're trying to create more hype around the indoor cycling class rather than speaking to the transformation that you can provide to people. So one last tip on getting really clear on your niche. A lot of people in the fitness industry will decide on a demographic. Oh, we serve a woman between 25 and 45. She drives a minivan and her kids to soccer practice, but she's also a really high achieving professional. This doesn't really tell us anything. What Shay and I encourage you to do at Fitness Career Mastery and in our Secrets of Brand Building program is to instead focus on a psychographic. What is it that this person believes about themselves? What is it that they believe about the world? That could be someone in their 60s. It could be someone in their 20s. It could be people from any walk of life, any race, any age, gender, sexual orientation. What you're speaking to are their beliefs and making sure they align with yours. And that's going to ensure you attract the right niche and as many people as you can within that niche.
Yeah, that's great. I really like that. I've heard not too long ago that, sometimes the best way when people are struggling to figure out their niche, it's like, some of the creators and some of the entrepreneurs that have really figured it out, quite well is they serve a previous, or like not an older version, but like a previous version of themselves before their own transformation.
Yes.
So I don't know if that makes sense, right? So because then you can speak into the
100%.
story, your story aligns with theirs, and you know exactly what they're going through at the different stages of their transformation.
Right.
And you have a story that they can relate to, rather than trying to serve somebody that maybe you don't understand so well. So I mean, that's quite, there's other entrepreneurs that have also served, demographics or audiences that wasn't their lives or previous, experiences. But that is definitely one. Sounds like you guys have come across that as well. Hey, Barry?
100%. That's something that we say all the time, is you're best equipped to serve the person that you once were. Yeah. And oftentimes people are actively seeking you out because they see you as perhaps a future version of themselves. It helps instill them with hope. Mm-hmm. And even if you're just a few steps ahead of them on the journey. Yeah. We knew a trainer that was like 50 pounds overweight, but he had lost 100 pounds already. And just the fact that he was just a little bit further along on his journey made him so much more relatable to people who really needed to lose weight for health reasons. And he was able to serve them really, really well. Also, what you said made me think of, Shay and I have been binging all of these shows that are coming out right now about entrepreneurs and kind of their downfall, like The Dropout. I don't know if you've watched that one, or like Anna Delvey's story. What we're watching right now is We Crashed. And in the first episode, when he meets Rebecca, she tells him the reason he's failing as an entrepreneur, trying to sell baby clothes with knee pads and high-heeled shoes with collapsible heels, is because he doesn't care enough about those products and the people that have those problems. And she encourages him to find something that he really deeply cares about.
Yeah. It's a really, finding your niche. I know this is like one point in sort of what you guys help folks with, but it is such a big, it's like something that sometimes people take years to figure out, and you try different niches and different audiences. And, sometimes you do need someone sort of outside of the picture to kind of, speak into you a little bit of like, hey, I think this is what I've observed with, and that's why it's important to have a coach or peers that can sort of speak honestly into, what you are serving. Because sometimes you don't know that you're just spinning around because you're in the middle of the tornado, right? So sometimes you're like trying all these things. Yeah.
The way we like to put it is, you can't read the label from inside the bottle. It's what you said is so true. It's so hard to be objective towards yourself and to see yourself clearly, or to know what you're naturally good at or gifted at, because it doesn't feel like it's special to you because it comes so naturally. And what we've done is we've come up with a really great series of questions that can help uncover what all these things are, because we believe that all of the answers are already living inside of you in terms of who to serve and what you believe and how you should serve people and the message that you should create around that. It just needs to be drawn out of you with the help of a coach and put together into a structure and a delivery system that your ideal client wants to hear, needs to hear.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get into number 3, but also just want to make sure that I mention that if you guys do want any of the resources that Barry has, we'll make sure there's links anywhere, whether this is you're listening on the podcast in the show notes or YouTube descriptions, you'll find links to find Barry and all of his resources. So awesome. All right, awesome. Barry, number 3.
So number 3 kind of builds upon stuff that we've already been talking about. We call it bang, 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 your core drums. people buy into what it is that you believe, not what you do, what you believe, which is why you have to shout what it is that you believe from the rooftops. Something Shay likes to say is there are so many paths to the center of the city. When it comes to fitness, this is 100% true. There are so many different approaches to fitness, and that ultimately can help you achieve the same thing. What is your unique way of doing it? We shouldn't be afraid to lean into this and to stand on top of the hill and plant our flag and say, this is what I believe. This is the way it should be done. This is the way that I want to take you. And there's kind of two sides to this coin. There's, to get really clear on what this is, you can take a look at what it is that you believe, but sometimes it's easier to look at the other side of the coin and look at what it is that you don't believe in. For one of our clients right now, something that she really stands against is any type of fitness that is for body transformation. What she believes is that when you market fitness for body transformation, it puts so much pressure on clients as individuals. They feel guilty if they don't get the same calorie burn in one class to the next. They feel like they have to punish themselves. They feel paranoid or self-conscious if they start to plateau. They start to get defeated if it's not happening fast enough. And all of these things are really, really toxic. So what she believes is that fitness is about falling in love with moving your body and all of the associated mental benefits, self-empowerment, greater confidence. If you can focus on that kind of transformation and fall in love with moving your body, guess what? You're going to show up more often, and you're probably going to get the hot body as a result anyway, but you won't even care about it at that point because you're going to feel so good about yourself. That's a really, really clear, strong belief that she holds that is in stark opposition to, let's face it, most of the fitness industry out there. For most people, fitness is synonymous with body transformation. And because she's taking that really clear stand, she's going to stand out as a breath of fresh air to the people that are sick and tired of feeling guilty, self-conscious, frustrated when they have tried these other options that market body transformation. They're going to say, oh my God, finally, this is what I've been looking for, right? But it takes being brave enough to go out there and proclaim what it is that you believe. And that's why we say it's so important to get really, really clear on what's happening within your own heart and take a look at your past journey, like you said, because that can help inform, again, that lens through which you look at fitness in your specific approach. You may believe that a fitness experience should be really rough, tough, and gritty. You should have a boot camp style coach that yells and screams at you in order to help you break through barriers and discover the true depths of your potential, right? But you also may believe that you need a nurturing coach, and it's not at all about that, but it's about coming into stronger contact with your emotions. Mm-hmm. And like that example I gave earlier, processing your stress, your depression, your anxiety through moving your body so you can walk out the door feeling more connected to who you are as an individual.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like that's sort of like sort of a part B to the last point that you shared about not trying to be everything to everyone. It's like even beyond just the vanity demographics of like race, age, all of the things that you would see in sort of a checkbox of like a profile. The next step to that, to not serve everyone, is to let them know what you think, and then people will either be attracted to not just like the visual demographics, vanity, demographics and stats, but like now, like your mentality, your, the way you think, like I align with
Absolutely.
you. And so I feel like we are even closer, and I'm more likely to want to work with you and, take your guidance, because you not only look the way and act the way that I want to eventually act, but you also think similarly. We have similar
Right.
beliefs and values. So yeah, that's fantastic. It is a little, I guess on the other side, Barry, with the way that the internet works these days and social media and everything, sometimes it is a little scary to put out, what you stand for out there, right?
Absolutely.
Fear of being canceled and, just being real transparent. I think that that really holds a lot of entrepreneurs back, because you're one tweet away from, being canceled out there. But what's your thoughts on that? On the way that you portray yourself? Is there any boundaries where you're like, hey, share as much, but not beyond this point? Or, what's your thoughts out there around that?
What immediately comes to mind for me is something that one of my mentors told me, which is, that you're starting to gain headway and become successful in your business when you get haters.
No, there you go. Yeah. I've heard somebody say, if you're not getting haters, you're not doing it right, or something like that.
Yeah. What that means is that you're taking a really clear stand that is repelling some people, and that's a good sign that you are speaking to your core beliefs. The analogy that I like to use is that when you get really good at this, it's almost like you're in medieval times and you're a trumpeter, and you're going up to the top of the tallest tower of the castle to play your trumpet herald out into the village. And when you do that, there are going to be some people in the village that say, the trumpet call, we must go. And they start running to the castle and drop all the things that they're doing. There are going to be another group of people, they hear the trumpet call and their ears are going to perk up and be like, that sounds really interesting. I want to go check that out. These are the types of people that come into contact with you and they say, I never thought of it that way before. This makes so much more sense in the way I've been trying it up until now. I'm gonna check this out. And then there are going to be the people in the city that go, oh my God, that trumpet again. When is it going to stop? Right? And those are not your people. Those are the haters, and that's okay. Again, you're not for everyone, so don't even try.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's really good advice. Yeah, I mean, I definitely encourage that. I think it's a good way definitely to almost filter out an easy way to attract the people that are your people, quote unquote, your people. So bang, 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 your core drums. I love it.
That's right.
Awesome. I love the points, I love the way that you guys have made it, very, very, very eye catching, it really gets your attention. All right. Number 4, Barry, let's go for it.
Thank you. Number 4 is, you're not the hero, you're the guide. What we see, especially in the fitness industry, are people, when you come to their Instagram, when you come to their website, they're talking about their years of experience. They're talking about how many certifications they have. They're talking about what publications they've been featured in, Shape Magazine, Men's Health. I've spoken with Oprah. They're talking about the celebrities they worked with. I don't know if I already said that, but all of these things that try to bolster themselves up and be very impressive to their ideal client, as if they impress them enough, they'll want to work with them. But what we're failing to realize here is that every individual is the hero of their own life story. Right? Rob, you're the hero of your life story. I'm the hero of mine. And when we turn to films, when we turn to our favorite novels, the hero is actually a very weak character. If we look at Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, he needed a lot of help to get him all the way to Mordor and back again, right? Neo in The Matrix was a very weak character. He needed the help of Morpheus and others to help him accomplish what he was meant to do as the hero, right? And when we come at our clients with all of this impressive stuff, about who we are, we're touting ourselves as another hero. And what happens as a result is they're going to say, wow, that's really impressive. That's cool. Good for you. But I still have no idea how you can help me win the day. Right? Yep. So that's why we say you're not the hero. You're meant to enter the story of your ideal client's life as the guide that they need to win the day. You need to be the Gandalf. You need to be the Morpheus. You need to be the Dumbledore to the Frodo, Neo, or Harry Potter, right? You need to be able to say, I know what you're going through. I've been there before and it sucks. And that's exactly why I've created something that can help you. Here, take my hand. I'm going to guide you through this so that you can win the day too.
I love that, Barry. That's I think of all the points so far, that's probably my favorite. Honestly, I think you put it in such a super simple, understandable way, because I think if entrepreneurs look at even just this website in that way of like, hey, I'm not the hero here, so am I put every section of your website through that filter? Am I shining myself as the hero, or am I presenting myself as the guide? I think you would definitely resonate more with your audience, and people would, gravitate to you much more. I love that. There's a really good book that I really love. It's like the 7 basic plots. There's only really 7 basic plots, and I know you're a big fan of the hero's journey.
Yeah,
that is one of the 7 basic plots.
I think they were all.
Yeah,
I think they're all written by Shakespeare, actually.
Yeah, that's right. One thing I really like about that is once you read this book, you'll see like there's the hero's journey, there's all these stuff, but some of the best movies will have all 7 plots in them. Lord of the Rings, like all of these ones that are like, because they're I know this is a bit of a tangent, but they all have elements of those 7 basic plots. Hero's Journey being the one that is my most favorite. The moment that I learned that, I'm like, I looked at all of these movies that I like. They're all the hero's journey books, stories. There's a hero. He's living a normal life. He meets a guide. They go on an adventure. He comes out at the end as like a new person, a different person, right? Because of that. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really the story that you need to tell to your ideal client. A lot of us stop at, here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not telling, there's not enough context around that to compel the individual, the hero, to take action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an example, but if Dumbledore just came up to Harry and said, we've got to destroy these Horcruxes to get rid of Voldemort, Harry'd be like, okay, cool. But if Dumbledore said, you've got this scar on your head and it's caused this connection between you and Voldemort, and it's putting yourself and everyone else at risk, which is why we need to go on this journey to destroy these Horcruxes so that this evil can be destroyed. Yeah. I don't know, right? Complete this. That's so much more context that can help drive the hero to action. So something actionable that I can give to those that are listening is to really clearly establish yourself as the guide. You really need to establish empathy, number one, to what your ideal client, the hero, is experiencing. Not just what the problem is, but their emotional connection to that. In the fitness example, it's someone may come to you and say, I need to lose weight, but the emotional connection they have to that is they feel frustrated by what they see in the mirror. They feel self-conscious in front of their partner, right? So showing empathy to that pain point and then showing authority on top of that. I'm not saying that you can't or shouldn't necessarily never share all of your accolades, but put them in the right context, right? After you show empathy, you feel free to say, I have worked with all these celebrities and I've been in these magazines and I am in a position to help you win the day. Here's how I do it. That really strongly conveys how you can help this individual and puts the context around it that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Morpheus and Gandalf, and they all, you had a bit of like why they should be worthy to lead you, right? They do mention like, okay, well, I've been through the battle, I've been through the fire, and so you know what I mean? So yeah, so don't be afraid to share it. But like you said, Barry, put it in the right context. Don't lead with it. Right, don't lead with it necessarily. But yeah, that's great. That's great advice. You're not the hero, you're the guide. I like that. I like that one a lot. Awesome. All right, we're wrapping up pretty soon here. Number 5.
Yeah, number 5 is to work from the inside out. Don't get caught up putting the cart before the horse. Shay and I get on a lot of phone calls with new studio owners and fitness entrepreneurs, and we talk to them about where they're at and what's going on. They're like, well, I just started this business, and I hired a web designer and a graphic designer. I'm getting my logo made, getting my website done, and we're always like, oh no, because we know that they haven't done the deep work yet to understand who they are, what their beliefs are, who they're speaking to, how they can help them. And this is a really natural tendency and thing to do. And I'm guilty of it. I've done it before. Yep. We start a new business. We get really excited about it. And the first thing we want to do is buy that domain name. Next thing we want to do is hire the graphic designer to get a logo, hire a web designer to create this really amazing, flashy, cool website that showcases us as being the awesome person that we are. And then we launch it and we wonder why we're not getting any clients.
That's right.
We had one client that spent $15,000 on their front desk. I'm talking about the physical structure of their front desk. And it was very, very cool. It had all these old school speakers like coming out of it. But she hadn't even gotten clear on who she wanted to come into that studio at that time.
Yeah.
We can't build a website. We can't create a logo. We can't decide on a social media strategy. We can't hire a marketing specialist until we're really, really clear on the story that we're telling first.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that whenever we take our professionals through the work that we do, we take a fresh look at their website and they're like, oh crap, I got to throw all of this out and start all over, because this is not actually an expression of who I am. This is not an expression of what I believe. This logo and these colors are not part of my brand aesthetic that are a representation of what I believe and help attract in the person that I'm meant to serve, right? So for many of you listening, I understand that you may have already done all this work, and that's okay. We can still go back and make the adjustment. But if you are just starting out, resist that temptation and that urge to do all of these things first, because there's a lot of deep work that has to be done first, so that your marketing, your social media, your website, your logo, your color scheme can be a perfect representation of who you are and help amplify your message so you can speak on an emotional, heartfelt level to the people that you're meant to serve.
I see this all the time when a new creator gets out and they want to build, they want to go live, they want to create videos, but they don't really know who they're speaking to. So they're throwing a lot of spaghetti on the wall, and spending on, things like logos and website, like you said, Barry, where they have to probably come back again and redo it, once they sort of get their, the audience right and the business format and everything, structure, everything right. So, I couldn't agree with you much more anymore with that one. And I know that you guys, this is actually a really good segue. I know you guys, this is something you guys help with, all of these things, all the things that you covered here. This is something that you and Shay help, fitness entrepreneurs with. And so I have one more question for you, Barry. But before we do that, I'd love for you to just, I'd love for you to just share what is the best place to just reach out, connect, grab some of the resources, or even work with you guys directly with, the audiences that are listening today.
100%. First of all, you can find us anywhere on the internet at Fitness Career Mastery, whether that's on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatnot. But I definitely want to encourage you to go listen to the Fitness Career Mastery podcast. It's everywhere that you can listen to podcasts. We take much deeper dives into all the stuff that we've been talking about today, as well as much, much more. And there's so much that you can get from listening to that. But aside from that, if you want access to free trainings, we host those in our community all the time. You can go to fitnesscareermastery.com/community to join that for free. I've got so much to give here today, Rob. If you want like a more in-depth breakdown of these 5 steps that we went through today, these 5 secrets of successful fitpreneurs, you can go to fitnesscareermastery.com/guide and you can download that for free. But then if you're really interested in working with us and seeing how we might be able to help you in your business, if what we talked about really resonated with you today and struck a chord, then I want to encourage you to book a free breakthrough session. You can do that by going to fitnesscareermastery.com/breakthrough. And on that call, we'll take a look at your business and what's going on. It's like going to a doctor's appointment. Yep. What's hurting? Talk to me about it. Let's get a good idea of what's going on. We'll answer all of your questions and we'll help come up with an action plan for you on what it is that you need to do to take your business to the next level. And we can also talk about what it would look like to work together and see if that would be a good fit. And even if it's not, for whatever reason, you'll still walk away with that action plan and some guidance on some of the next steps you should take.
Awesome. So yeah, we will have links to all of that in the show notes, description, wherever you're consuming this conversation in. And I know that Barry and Shay have helped a lot of Uscreen users as well. So, we love you guys for doing that and helping our community. So much thanks. But yeah, my last question for you, Barry, because you're in the middle of the, fitness industry, but also sort of this online, I won't say boom. It's been happening for a while, but I think it's just really being fast forwarded right now as we speak. Where do you see, I feel like there's another sort of change, another tide coming in of change here with the fitness industry and online and everything. Where do you see the future of, the fitness industry in the next, 2, 3, 4 years, as it pertains to physical, boutique, online, hybrid models? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, Rob, it's such a good question. And we get asked this all the time because so much has shifted over the last 2 years through the pandemic. And so many more technological solutions are coming out, which makes online easier and more interactive and interesting, right? But when it comes to fitness and the relationship that we're having with our bodies, we actually have to still look to the past to be informed of what's to come in the future. Because actually, from the dawn of fitness, there have been people that want to work out at home in some virtual capacity, and at that stage, that was, a cassette tape of a workout, right? Jane Fonda, Billy Blanks, all the way up through like Tony Horton and P90X and Insanity, all the way up until now and Uscreen, right? There are those people that want to work out at home. And then there are those people that need that in-person connection with not only their instructor, but also the other people in the room. They thrive off of that connection that they feel with others and the sound of the music hitting their body and the feeling of other people moving around them. So as we move into the future, that's still going to be the case. There are going to be those people that want to go work out with you in person. And there are also going to be those people that want to work out with you virtually. And like I mentioned earlier, there's this cool opportunity to offer that hybrid model. So if someone's not able to work out with you in person because they're traveling or for whatever reason, they're still able to get a great workout with you in some digital capacity. But that's also not for everybody. So again, when it comes to answering this question for yourself and what the right path is for you, all the answers are inside already. you're meant to serve people in person, or you're meant to serve people digitally, or you're meant to offer some sort of hybrid model. And there's a lot of different factors that go into that. How tech savvy you are, what kind of lifestyle you want to live, what kind of impact you want to have on people, right? So if this is like a burning question that you have, definitely recommend that you reach out and book one of those breakthrough sessions with us, and we'll help you uncover what medium is best for you.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Wasn't that so good? Let us know what your key takeaway was from that episode by tweeting at us at UScreenTV. Then make sure you're subscribed to the show so you don't miss any of the new episodes as they're published. And if you want to learn more about using Uscreen to monetize your videos or want to become a Uscreen affiliate partner, head over to uscreen.link/podcast to get more information today. Again, my name is Rob Balasabas, and I'll see you in the next video.